All right, jumping right in here, this last video of the series. If you've been following along, you know that I've had real issues with nitrocellulose finish on this guitar. I'm just going to accept it. I'm going to embrace it. It's got a nice alligator look to it. It's not coming off. It's time to proceed with the assembly. No more finishing work. I'm just going to accept it for what it is. So I'm dry fitting the neck here. Very little gap. I think it's going to be a great joint. But before I do any kind of glue up preparation, well, this is the preparation. I got to make sure that there's no dried glue or squeeze out or furs or burrs or bug legs or anything in there, right? I don't want to sand anything at this point because I know I have good geometry on the angles and stuff, but I do need to make sure that the surface is perfectly prepped as perfectly as I can anyhow. So this is the part that I had taped off in the past video while I was doing the finishing. Rather than stripping off the nitrocellulose, I just taped everything off that's going to have glue contact. So the first thing we're going to need here are 3 cauls to protect this thing. First one, I have a approximately 16-inch radius board, and that'll go over the fretboard. The second one is a piece of wood that'll go inside here, inside of the sound hole, so that when the neck is installed, we'll clamp it like this. And then another one with leather to protect it from clamp damage for the body. So those will all go together like a puzzle here. I'll show you in a second. First thing though, I gotta run some naphtha through all of the wood joints, make sure there's no, grease or dust or hand oil or anything like that. And I don't know, I have the video going kind of quick, but if you look on the shop cloth there, even after a couple of passes, there's still a little bit of dirt. So maybe a little bit of stain, not so much. Usually, mostly just dirt and oil and stuff. So need a good surface to glue. I don't know if I need to walk you through all this gluing process, but yeah, to get a nice, smooth, even layer. You don't want to overdo it though, because squeeze out is a real issue with this. And I have to stand over this thing after it's all clamped up and babysit the squeeze out for minutes on end until it all is done. Now make sure that you don't get any glue on this truss rod. So important. I should emphasize that. No glue on the truss rod or really near it. Stay at a good, eighth to a quarter inch away from it so that when it squeezes out, it doesn't, get on the truss rod that's sticking through there. So this is getting a little bit long. Let's go ahead and wrap this up, Mark. Let's insert the neck into the body, and now is the time for clamping. There's a little bit of play in this thing. So after I'm done getting all these clamps set up, there's the call for the fretboard with the radius, and I got a tricky reach in there and get the clamp to grab. Just do what you got to do. You'll figure it out. It's not rocket science, but it is a little bit tricky. I got to make sure that the center line is still on point. And at this point, with clamps and calls in the way, it's somewhat of an eyeball job, but you just, you got to do the best you can do if you're going through this process. Make sure you put your leather there and don't clamp that clamp too hard. At one point during this, I did hear a creak, and that wasn't a good sign. There's a lot of joints on these acoustic guitars. Lots of stuff is glued together on the inside that you don't even see. So you really want to be mindful of that. And the soundboard, I mean, this stuff is really pretty thin, which is what gives it its resonance and tone. So you'll know just hand as you're tightening it. There I am making sure the center line still exists. Now, is it precise? I don't know, but I'm confident. Here she is all clamped up. Got some leather stuff on the back. I got a vertical or I guess parallel clamp going with the center line to keep the heel of the neck flush up against the body. And like I said, constantly rubbing off the squeeze out until everything sets up. Here I am pulling the clamps off. It turned out really good. I'm happy with it. My only concern is, was that neck perfectly aligned? The joints look good. There's no gaps. Nothing's, off kilter. Anyhow, let's just move forward with the bridge here. And again, I'm going to make sure that the height is right, and it still is. Nothing has shifted. It's been a month that I've been working on this, the finish part of it. So I haven't done much with measuring or anything for a month. I got to trust that my first measurements were right, and they are. So here I'm wiping it all down. Again, I did not do Stu Mac's instructions and finish the whole thing and then use nitrocellulose stripper to pull these parts off. I taped them, and I'm glad I did. This is the only tool that I bought. There's two tools. This is one. It's a clamp, a bridge clamp. I bought this one from. I think I got it from AliExpress. It was like $7. So look out there first. Otherwise, you'll be getting them from luthier shops for $50. This worked so good. I had to drill 2 holes in the body first. That's why I taped the bridge down so that these little bolts can come up through it. And the clamp goes over these bolts. You wing nut them down. It's kind of tricky getting my hand into the sound hole here. I'm just doing another rub down of naphtha on these parts. See the 2 holes there? That's the high E and the low E string. I had to drill through there with a 3/8 inch, I think. No, I'm wrong. It was like it's a slightly over a 1/8 inch drill bit. Anyhow, 3/16, so that I can get that clamp apparatus through there. As you're putting the glue on, don't overdo it, but make sure you get a good thin layer over everything and try to avoid the holes. Not as critical here. You just don't want to glue these bolts to the clamp. And yeah, just avoid the holes. Give yourself an 1/8 inch or so around it, and don't go too heavy on the glue. Make sure that it's perfectly aligned. Yeah, I can see little tiny pencil marks that I've left in there. Um, they're pretty much covered up by the bridge, but I know they're there. And I'm pulling it off, realigning it, putting little shims of wood in there so that I don't punch that bolt into the bridge. And here we go. I'm going to go for the final tightening. I had too much glue squeeze out, so I had to loosen it up. And I mean, I could just sit here with a camera on it, mopping up glue. We're done. Here we are, the magic of video. I was able to get the clamp out, no issues, no dents, no clamp marks. The thing really worked good. Check it out. Look on AliExpress, or it's an acoustic guitar saddle clamp. That's what you'll want to look for. And I'll use it again. It worked awesome. Here's a little caul that I'm putting on the inside because I need to drill some holes and I want everything fully supported. I don't want to blow out holes in the soundboard. And this little clamp setup supports that. Now that's called a G clamp. I also got that, believe it or not, on AliExpress. I'm not promoting them, and I rarely buy stuff off of there, but $60 for one of these from some of the other luthier shops, just a little steep for me. I'm probably only going to use this once. If I do it another time, I will use the same tools, but I'm not going to be making a living with these. So anyhow, moving on. Here's the saddle pins. They're a little, it's not that they're too wide, the holes are too narrow. So I did drill each of those holes out. I need to ream them now with a tapered reamer. I don't recall what the diameter is. I don't think it's important for this. If you're doing a build like this, you'll know. Just measure them and mark your reamer with tape. I did have the reamer. You can get those from Harbor Freight for like $6. Amazon has them. It's not really a specialty tool. I recommend everybody has one. Little vacuum there, and they all fit. I'm just doing a test fit here. It was remarkable. Don't go too far. Go less, and then keep widening if you need to. But you want that to be a nice, tight, squeaky fit. Next thing that we're doing here is taking a jigsaw blade, just a scrap blade. Fewer teeth is better because it's very tight space to work. And I'm just giving it about a 45-degree angle cut for the strings, sort of a little groove for the strings to go through, and then hit it with some sandpaper. Make sure it's smooth because your strings are going to be, as you flex and bend and stuff, you want them to, sit nicely in those slots. We're rounding the corner here on the last steps. I'm putting on the tuning keys here. From my past video, you'll know that I pre-drilled these. Stu Mack recommends drilling them right now. I drilled them prior, got some lacquer in those holes, no big deal. Tiny little flathead screwdriver for this. After a couple of them, I opted just to use the cordless drill. Just be very careful, don't gouge it. Lay some tape down if you're not handy with a drill, but I just got them partway in with this because I just want to hold them steady. I have bushings to install now on the other side of the headstock. So these are going to be extremely tight, and you want them extremely tight. There's no way to push these in by hand. If you can, your hole's a little too big. It should be very, very tight. So what I did was I took a socket. I don't remember the size, doesn't matter. If you're doing this, you'll know. Piece of leather on the bottom underneath the tuning key. And then I take a pair of channel locks, open them up wide so that the jaws run parallel with each surface, and then squeeze them down, a little clamp. See that? And it worked amazing. Just take your time, use that leather on the back, and don't scratch up your headstock. Because remember, this is already finished with your poly or nitrocellulose or true oil or whatever you choose to use. You don't want to have to go back to doing finish repairs at this point. So I'm going to manually finish these, threading these screws in there with a manual screwdriver. Gratifying time, take off the tape. Now remember, this tape has been on this guitar for weeks and weeks while I've been fighting this nitrocellulose drama, and there will be some residual that needs to be cleaned off, and it's tough to get off. You can get it all off, but there's still, you can still see where it was, even though there's nothing sticky on there. I never could figure out what it is, but it's almost made like a wax layer or something, but you can see a small stripe down the center where the tape was. So you really want the tape to be on there as short as possible. I didn't have a choice. I went 4 or 5 weeks trying to solve this nitro problem, and then I just gave up, and here we are at this video today. All right, I'm throwing the strings on. I'm going to speed this up in 10 or 20x speed. Just get through it. Just each one at a time. Take your time. And I should play some music over this because I'm probably losing viewers rapidly, but we're almost done. One more string to go. And look, here's what I wanted to focus on. As I go up here, those strings are perfectly parallel with the edges of the fretboard. The neck glue up was spot on. Same amount of space between the string and the edge of the board. I can't tell you how happy I am at this very moment. All right, so here we are. I'm done with this thing. As you've seen throughout the process, the finish did not turn out the way I had hoped, but I'm going to embrace it. It's really quite perfectly alligator skinned, right? It's very evenly checked, and the nitrocellulose just didn't work out for me, but it's kind of cool. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to ignore it throughout its life. I'll take it camping. I won't be afraid to bring it outdoors and, you know, beat up on it a little bit. It might feel strange doing so because it is a very, very nice guitar. I mean, it turned out really well. The components are good. I got a hold of StewMac and asked them to confirm what the saddle and the nut are made of. It is bone, so the tone is awesome. The only thing I've changed out on this guitar are the bridge pins. I went with bone bridge pins because, you know, that's where the strings are making contact with the body and the saddle, and the pick guard. I didn't want black. I have black on my Alveraz here, which I love. This guitar is from like 1985, 86, and it sounds amazing. This is the best sounding acoustic guitar I've heard. So I'm going to do a quick comparison, but I wanted to just mention, I do recommend upgrading the bridge pins and possibly the pick guard if that's something, you know, that you're not happy with just straight up black. But the tuning keys, it stays in tune. I can't complain about that. I might upgrade them at some point because they're a little tough to turn. But we'll see over time as they wear in, how they wind up feeling. The intonation is great. I did my part on aligning the neck, but for the most part, it was an easy build, minus the finish. And the frets are nice. It's been a lot of time on that, make sure they're round and everything on the ends. And that's about all there is to it. So let me just do a quick comparison. You guys know I'm not much of a demo guy. I don't like it. I play great on my own. When I'm in front of a camera or people, it all goes south. But just so you can kind of get an idea, and I hope that my crappy microphone will pick up some of the nuances of the tone of each one, but just some basic chords, you know. That's all I got. I hope you enjoyed the journey of building this StewMac kit. Again, overall I'm really happy with it. It's a cool guitar. It sounds really good. Sounds better than it looks actually, but that's on me.
And if you're looking to do it, I would highly recommend it. It really wasn't tough at all. And if you missed any of the videos during the process, go back to the beginning of the playlist, and I think I identified all the areas that I really ran into issues with. Main thing was that you have to stop halfway through and do the finishing, and then finish the assembly. I rerouted a step and put tape over the body where the bridge will be. I marked it out perfectly and taped it perfectly. Same thing with where the extension from the fretboard goes. So I taped all that off, did the finish, and then I could peel that off. I didn't have to do stripper and strip off the nitrocellulose or anything like that. I wasn't a fan of that. So I read through the instructions first, and that's one area I said to myself, I'm not going to do it that way, I'm going to do it slightly different. It was all, you know, turned out great. If I can do it, I know you can do it.